Hey there. So, got a little story about when God does something that doesn't make sense, and then later you look back and go, wow, he sure knew exactly what he was doing, and I'm so glad. So, I had been out of work for 6 months. Money was tight, going to those food banks. No one at home likes that kind of food, myself included. Uh, and I was getting an offer with a great company for a position that wasn't a good fit for me. And it was for a good chunk less than the role I had had before. And there was another position with another company I was in the loop for, paid like 50% more. And it was the work that I just love to do. But it kept being like they're ready to make an offer. Oh, we just need one more little thing. And I really didn't doubt their sincerity. I mean, it was just tremendous interviews and fit and everything else. And God just made it really clear through some dreams and other things like, no, I want you to take this first position, the one with the offer for much less, doing work that's really not your forte. So I did. And I sincerely wanted to be faithful. And if I was mistaken in what God was leading me in, I wanted to at least be, mistaken in good faith rather than willingly rebellious or disobedient. Okay, flash forward a little over half year. I have really struggled in this new job like I have never struggled before. To the extent that I've gotten the official performance review, you're not meeting expectations, to the position that I had responsibilities, my sphere of responsibility reduced by over half because you're not cutting it, and let's cut back and see if you can get things together and we're going to support you. I mean, I've just really been touched and been very healing how in my corner everyone and the leadership team has been, and really coming alongside me so I can make it. Okay, so here I am, and somewhere along the line, I had this miraculous change of heart. I've always been fear-driven, anxious, make myself afraid, focus on how terrible things could be, and, use that fear to make myself do what I needed to do to be successful. And, normally in this type of situation, one, I would be networking, applying on the side probably for all I was worth. And two, I would be up till 11 or 12 each night just trying to learn every little thing and get every little thing right, and, weekends and all that kind of stuff. And, and, through going up and getting some prayer with people at church and other things, I just really came to believe this is going to work. I'm going to get this. God has not brought me here to fail. He's not brought me here to get fired and end up in the poorhouse. I'm here to learn things I need to learn. One, I'm getting much better organized. I always kind of patch things together behind the scenes, keeping everything rolling, but I need to level up in this position because it's too much detail. But the other thing is, I'm, rarely nervous or fearful or anxious or scared. I have a picture of my head of me being successful in this role. I have a belief that God's called me to be successful in this role. And I see evidence of me learning new things, getting better organized, understanding what's going on, being more effective, being making strategic impact now and then here, and that I'm getting better. And I look now and go, you know what? One, I'm really thankful to have better organizational skills because that just feels a lot more peaceful to me. But two, I've taken my biggest fear, the fear of poverty. And in that fear, God has wrought a change in me from a lifelong anxiety-driven motivation, outlook, mindset, approach to life, to a hope mindset, to a pulled by hope. You know, what's the Bible say in Romans? Faith, hope, and love abide, and the greatest of these is love. Hey, hope is one of the big three. Hope, that belief in, and that excitement of, and that picture of a good future, a successful outcome. And hope floods one's body with all sorts of great chemicals and emotions, and your cellular function is tremendously better than when we run on fear. Fear destroys us mentally, emotionally, physically, relationally. Fear destroys us in every way. You know, the devil wants us to be fear-driven. God's like, no, don't fear. Don't look at what you don't want to happen. Have hope. Look up above your circumstances at me and what you and I want to happen. And start walking with your eyes there, right? When Peter got out of the boat, it says, he said, Jesus, you're walking on the water. I want to come walk with you. And Jesus said, come on, Pete. And it says he got out of the boat. And so if he's out of the boat, he's on the water, right? And it said, and he looked and he saw the waves were big. And he grew afraid and started to sink. And I'm so glad he called out, Lord, help. And Jesus pulled him out. But see, when he took his eyes off Jesus and where he wanted to go and walk on the water, and when he looked at the circumstances that looked foreboding, he was filled with fear and he sunk. So, our fear versus hope is really driven by what are we focused on? Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount, right? If your eye is sound, if it's robust, if your eye is healthy, if it's focused where it's supposed to be, your whole body will be filled with light. And, I think that's metaphorical and physical. Like I said, when we're full of hope, our body is nourished and flourishes. And then Jesus goes, but if your eye is not sound, if it's not focused on the things that bring hope, then your whole body will be full of darkness. And if the light in you is darkness, how deep is the darkness? My goodness. I mean, okay, I'm over 60, right? And I'm just starting to get this, but I'm so glad to be getting it. And I really, I just pray for all of us. God, we can't do this without you. Lord, grow in me a hope orientation. I'm tired of living by fear. Fear sucks, man. Being afraid just feels terrible. Being hopeful is wonderful. And I got a feeling I'm going to end up doing a better job than I would be if I'd been pushing myself through fear in this situation too.